my very first client, just sitting there thinking, please don't realize that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, just terrified that they could see right through me, that they were looking at me like, you're an idiot. Like, you have no idea. You're not going to help me. And also having no clue how to help. Like, the very first time they tell you, here's what I'm going through. And you're just like, I have nothing to offer you. And thinking that you're supposed to just zoom in and fix their problem. Like, that's an often rookie mistake, too.
Yep. Absolutely.
I feel that pain, Nick. I relate.
So, Jim, next question. Have you ever encountered dangerous clients, and how did you handle it?
It's rare. I mean, it's very rare. There's a huge misconception out there that mental health people are dangerous, and we get that from, like, Batman, right? Because all the criminals in Batman go to Arkham Asylum, and they're all in the loony bin, and they're all secretly really dangerous, and that's good television, but not real. So we call that a stigma, which is a hurtful stereotype. Having said that, yes, in healthcare, at all levels of healthcare, it's possible that you're going to meet somebody on their worst day, and they're going to be, rough and unruly and stressed, and they might even present a danger to themselves or others. Yes, that's happened to me. I can think of one example of somebody that was definitely dangerous. I once had a teenager who was going to be the next school shooter, and came to me because his parents discovered that he was making a plan to do that. And he had a whole plan, and I'm not going to go into it too much, but he had a whole plan, and he confessed it, and we worked on it. And it was very clear to me that if we didn't do something immediate and quickly, this was a real risk, and he could really be the next person on the news, and had a whole plan to do it. So in that situation, how did we deal with it? You trust your training, you consult with your colleagues, and together, we ultimately got him the care that he needed, that was appropriate for him, got him the right medicines that were addressing some of the challenges he was having, a lot of hallucinations and things like that, and ultimately became one of my most successful clients. And, to this day, fantastic. He's a grown man now. He's been, healthy for years and years. He's doing very, very well. But that was a dangerous situation, and I think the trick is you don't overreact. Don't make it worse, by panicking or thinking, the worst case scenarios and catastrophizing, but just love the person, and be close to the person, care about them first. And if that's sincere and that's genuine, they'll see that you do not represent a threat to them and that you want to see them succeed. And ultimately, they'll be responsible for their own care and their own help, which he was able to do.
Right. And we've both been in situations, and I would agree with you. It's very rare.
Very rare. Very rare.
That that somebody becomes violent.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that too is I work very hard in my sessions to not be the guy that people want to hurt.
Right.
Right. Rapport is everything. So if you establish good rapport, you don't come off as a target.
Right.
It's not like, me hurting Nick isn't going to gain anything from me.
And it's super rare. And the problem with mental health is the only time the public ever talks about it is whenever somebody has become violent.
Right.
There's a shooting and now they're like, let's talk about mental health, but otherwise they don't talk about it when somebody's just depressed and can't go to work.
Right.
Then we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it when this guy has a bar tab of $200 on a Wednesday night, but that's mental health too. So, it's something that I think a lot of people misunderstand. Still, it's a good question, and still it's something that we encounter and we're trained to deal with. And Nick and I have both had scenarios where somebody was really escalated, very stressed, and could have become physically violent, and we're trained very carefully to read that person, to see those warning signs, and usually we'll say, hey, let's step outside, let's get out of the office, let's have you take a walk around the building, let's talk this through, and if we need to end the session, we will, and if we need to call for help, we will. And we've both done that, Nick. We've had situations in some of our programs where we've called 911.
Yeah. And there's, some situations in which the therapeutic relationship just has to end.
Yes.
You cannot continue it any longer.
Yeah.
I've had a death threat made against me. I've had a hit put out on me by a drug dealer.
I remember that. Yeah. I was more scared than you were. I was like, is everything going to be okay? And you were like, I'm pretty sure this guy's not competent enough to pull off the hit.
I wasn't, we weren't really dealing with Pablo Escobar in that situation.
No, it wasn't quite, It wasn't quite a crime syndicate.
Right.
But I was pretty scared that day. That was a long time ago. All right, Nick, the next question is, and this is our last one, what are the most rewarding parts of your job? And what are the most difficult?
Well, for me, I think the most rewarding part of the job is seeing change.
Yeah.
So when, this has happened This is why I don't take bets on someone's success when they first come into the program, because I am wrong almost always.
Get it wrong.
I am consistently wrong.
Yeah.
There has been countless examples I can think of when somebody comes into the program and they are belligerent and they are just awful and they're rude and condescending and just causing so many problems. And, you know, I will be saying to myself,
there's no way.
This person's not going to make it.
Right.
We're wasting our time.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work. But I always kind of check myself like, all right, no, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We're going to work with them. And those are the ones that always surprise me.
Right.
They're the ones that something clicks and they get it. And then you see them several weeks later and they are a leader and they're helping out some of the newer folks. Yep. And it's
night
just,
and day.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's funny. There's been lots of those where we're like, this one's not going to make it. And later on, we're like, wow, can you believe how good they're doing? And we're both shocked. Yeah. That is really rewarding.
Yeah. And I have to remind myself every time we've got a client that comes in like that.
Yes.
Just how wrong I am most of the time.
So what's the most challenging?
Well, the most challenging part of my job right now, now, honestly.
It's working with Jim.
I wasn't going to say that. But, I mean, my job now is administrative for the most part. Working with the clients, I don't have a whole lot of issues. I mean, I've been doing this long enough. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be resistance. There's always going to be some challenge, which, you know, resistance is essentially them just giving you feedback.
Right.
And saying, like, what you're doing is not working for me.
Right.
Change your approach.
Yes.
So yeah, most of my challenges now, if I'm not taking good care of myself, good self-care, you can get burnt out in this industry very quickly.
Yeah.
And there are days where I sit in my office and I'm just thinking like, I just want to be in a cubicle and I just want to work with Excel spreadsheets and deal with numbers. I don't want to talk to people.
Is that finance major Nick who comes back out to play and he's like, dude, we could just be crunching numbers right now. Headphones on, never talk to another human being. Yeah. I get that. I think I echo everything you just said. The most rewarding part for me is, I think it's the obvious thing. It's the fame and fortune. I mean, gosh, it's just ridiculous.
For all the people going into therapy, one of the things that's going to be very important is money management skills, because money is just going to be falling from the sky and you have to learn how to manage it.
It's an embarrassment of riches. I mean, it's just so sad. And, I think that there's that, and then, just the fame. I think for me, to be serious, the biggest reward right now, I love that our industry is so relevant in the national conscience and in our state. And I love being able to be a part of projects and work on big picture stuff and help reform things and teach people. It's very fulfilling. So I love that people want to know about this and that we happen to know about it and we can share about mental health. It's just, that's something I'm really passionate about. Biggest challenge is the anxiety, man. You and I work in a unique part of mental health in a rehab. Mm-hmm. And in a rehab, any day somebody could have a personal crisis, and it's not that big of a deal. But to them, it really is. Yeah. And they're going to get self-destructive and put themselves back out in harm's way and go back to drugs. And you and I get called in to sit down and de-escalate them and try to get them back to zero. And if we fail, it's scary because they may end their life out there, on the streets or back in the drug game. And that's a lot of anxiety for me. Yeah,
that is difficult. That's a very difficult part of our job when you see somebody making a choice that
you can't stop them.
You can't stop them, and there's no way that this is going to end well.
Yeah, that's hard to watch, but still very rewarding because at the end of the day, the fame and fortune, that comforts me.
Yeah.
So I want to thank all of the Nevada State College students and Professor Roberta Miranda's class. We love you guys. And to show my affection for you, I am going to give you an extra credit challenge.
Which means nothing.
Which means
because
everything.
We haven't approved it with
It's
Roberta,
approved.
But
I'm approving it. Okay, so this comes directly from on high. Roberta Miranda, you better give them extra credit. She's going to be like, you get 1/2 of 1 point. Yeah. That's all you're getting. So here's the deal. Earlier in today's show, you heard us play the diagnosis game, and you got to see how ridiculously gifted I am. And I want to see how ridiculously gifted you are. So I have a little vignette here, Nick, that That is a question that we can ask them. It's a little paragraph, and I want to know, can a student listening to this identify and diagnose the patient described? And if you can get the diagnosis correct, I'm going to tell Professor Miranda the diagnosis. I'm going to email it to her, and if you come to her and you correctly identify it, she's going to give you 1,000,000% extra credit. In fact, she's going to hand you your degree. She's going to say, congratulations, you've defeated college. Here you go.
You have the pod therapy guarantee.
The pod therapy guarantee. I put the entire credibility of the Pod Therapy podcast into this promise. All right. So to all of my college student listeners, and for all those playing the home game who would also like extra credit in Professor Miranda's class, even if you are already a therapist, here is today's vignette. Gary is a 27-year-old married electrician. For the past year, he has been complaining of dizziness, sweaty palms, heart palpitations, and ringing in his ears. He has also experienced dry throat and a constant edgy and watchful feeling that often interfered with his ability to concentrate. Because of these symptoms, he has seen a neurologist, neurosurgeon, chiropractor, and an ENT specialist. He was initially told that he might have an inner ear problem before being referred to a therapist. Upon meeting the therapist, Gary discusses his immense fear over pleasing his wife's family ever since their 3-month whirlwind courtship and marriage. All right, students, diagnose Gary. What is he facing? If you get it right, you get a free degree from Nevada State College. We'll throw in a doctorate from UNLV. Congratulations, and medical licenses, all for one question.
There you go.
That is how we do at Pod Therapy.
All right. Well, now that we've lost all of our regular listeners.
No, they're all with us now. They're excited.
So let's move on to our listener mail.
Yeah, I'll start it off. Our first one is actually from the website, where, again, you can go to podtherapy.net, and you can at any time submit any question, comment, and it's completely anonymous. And so this one is also anonymous, and it says, "Hey guys, I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning, and I love."
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks. Nice. I hope it is your mom.
My mom doesn't know what a podcast is.
She doesn't even know what a podcast is. Hey guys, I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning, and I love the enthusiasm you both have for normalizing mental health issues and helping regular people get a taste of what therapy is like. Thank you. I was wondering, though, when did you both know you wanted to be a therapist, and what brought you to this line of work? That's a great question.
It is.
So, Nick, let's start with you. You are not a native Nevadan. You came here from some distant land, I'm told, is Iowa or something. I don't know how the natives speak.
The land of the ice and snow.
The land of corn.
Yes, I'm from Iowa.
Yeah. So, how did you decide to become a therapist?
I still haven't decided.
I'm still kicking around some options.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of, this is my fallback. Right. Yeah, well, now we're going to be podcast celebrities now that we're on iHeartRadio.
Well,
so.
I moved to Vegas because I had dreams of being a Jay-Z impersonator on the Strip.
Right. That is what most people say when they meet
That has
you.
not taken off as I thought it would.
Yeah. The world's not ready. That's the problem.
True.
It's the ignorance of others.
Yeah.
Your impersonation is spot on.
Thank you.
Hova.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, funny story. I originally went to school for finance.
No, did you really?
Yeah, I was a finance major.
What?
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
my dream job was I wanted to work at the Chicago Board of Trade.
What?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Because you are one of the rare therapists that's actually really good at Excel and like knows how to do
Oh,
this.
yeah.
And the rest of us have no clue what's going on. We're very much like PowerPoint kind of people. We do not use Excel. And Nick is like religious about it. It's because you were a finance major. So you're actually, are you good at math?
No, I'm terrible.
And that's why you're a therapist.
Turns out that's a bit of a hurdle to jump over.
It turns out that in finance there's some arithmetic.
So I actually, in my freshman year, I had a economics class, and I took it, and I was kind of struggling with it. Mm-hmm. And I also had intro to psych as an elective.
Okay.
And I just found that so fascinating.
Huh.
And it was the only class where I was reading ahead.
Oh,
like I was just, this is interesting. I want to learn more. And that's kind of how that all started.
That's awesome.
So they ended up switching my major to psychology. And then afterwards, after my psychology degree, I wanted to get into mental health and doing therapy, and did all the research and found that the master's in social work is kind of the
gold standard.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, well then I'll do that. So I went into my first year. There's two courses or two